Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever it is that you are listening to the Dear God, It's Me podcast. I am Krishna Ruffin, and I just want to thank you for joining in and listening today. We're talking today about so now what? When we put God on a timetable, we get turned every which way but loose by our emotions, feelings, pains, and impatience. We want God to move on Chronos, but he works in Cairo. Chronos moves according to clocks and calendars. Cairo operates in purpose and seasons. God is intentional about everything he says and does. We cannot bully God into our will. We must be willing to release our will and ask God for grace to accept his will. We see what we want and we put it in Chronos. We tell ourselves that according to my calendar and time schedule, this should happen by this time, and I should have it by this time. However, God sees what we want and says, let me make sure they're mature enough to handle it. Let me wait until they have let go of ungodly connections. Let me make sure that they are in a position not to fumble what they're asking me for. Just because your child turns 16 years old and has a driver's license doesn't mean you will buy them a car of their own and let them stay out all night, ride around with whoever they want and go wherever they want. You will move according to the maturity level and responsibleness of that teenager. It's for their own protection. Surrendering the outcome to God brings true peace. When we actively surrender to God's will and allow Him complete control, that is when we can rest in Him. Our frustrations leave us and our strength returns. Sometimes earthly answers don't come, but the eternal promises sustain us. We must keep our hope rooted in the things eternally. What is eternal? God's love is eternal. God's concern for us is eternal. The place he has prepared for us is eternal. Remember that things on earth are temporal, and we cannot set our affections on earthly things and lose sight of the things that matters the most. I want to encourage you to keep putting your confidence in God. Trust him to lead and guide you. Trust him to fight for you. Trust him to deliver you. You won't always understand his plan. You won't always be able to see where he is taking you. You won't know the end of your story, but trust that God has an expected end to it. Trust that God knows what he is doing. Your situation has not taken God by surprise. He already knew what you were going to have to go through, and he knows your end from the beginning. Regardless of what it looks like at this very moment, believe God. God made you a promise, and you must believe what he said. The enemy wants you to be rocked. The devil wants you to give up and throw in the towel. But I dare you to stand flat footed and tell the enemy, I don't care what you say, I believe God. 2 Corinthians 1 was a letter written by Paul to the church at Corinth. At the time of this letter, Paul was in a jail cell. In the letter, Paul said, I had other plans. This is not how I thought things would be for me right now. He said he thought he would die in his predicament. Paul was encouraging the church to not look at his situation and become discouraged because he believed God. He told them, do not worry about what I'm going through because suffering is a part of walking with Christ. But he told the church to remain faithful and keep trusting God. Paul told them that the God that they serve will deliver him and he will deliver them because he made a promise. All of God's promises are yes and amen. All of God's promises are approved and shall be. Paul's situation did not appear too favorable, but he still believed God. Your situation does not look favorable. On the outside, it may appear that you are losing the fight. To onlookers, they are probably wondering why you even bother serving God. You see, folks will look at your situation and not see hope. But when you look at your situation, you must see God. Because if it had not been for God, you would have thrown in the towel a long time ago. If it had not been for God, you would have lost your mind. If it had not been for God, you would have given up a long time ago. But keep looking towards the hills from which cometh your help. God has brought you through before, and he will bring you out again. I believe God. Do you? Don't be distracted by the obstacles. Do not be discouraged by the doctor's report. Do not be afraid because of the storm. Just keep believing God. You will survive what killed someone else. Just remain steadfast and unmovable. Keep your face fixed and your eyes focused on God. Know that He is right in the mix with you. God will get the glory after this. I don't know about you, but I believe God. On Christ, the solid rock, I stand. All other ground is sinking sand. I'm going to hold on to God's unchanging hand because he hasn't failed me yet. I'm going to hold on to the promise of God because his promise is true. I'm going to hold on to God because he is not a man that shall lie. It is impossible for God to lie because whatever he says is. Even if it wasn't before, as soon as he speaks it, it becomes whatever he says it is. Whew. I just want to encourage myself right here. So even though you don't look victorious, you are because God says you are. Even though you don't look healed, you are because God says you are. Even though you don't look prosperous, you are because God says you are. You may not feel delivered, but keep on declaring, I am free. Keep on declaring, I am highly favored. Keep on declaring, I am blessed. Keep on declaring, I am healed. Keep on declaring, I am God's elect. Saints of God, most of all, keep on believing.